Yeah, it's time to build your vision. Step into your purpose, make the right decision. This is your kingdom, claim your ground. Let your faith be the only sound that you're hearing now. Rise up and build, oh yeah.
Good morning, what's up, vlog? What's up? Happy Sunday. I wanted to come on, to create some consistency. Let me fix y'all over here on this little stand. To create some consistency in my vlogging pattern. So I didn't necessarily have something pressing I wanted to discuss, but I'm trying to get just used to vlogging. I need to get a vlog camera. I did buy a camera, but I really want the DJI, so I need to work on deciding if I'm gonna get that, because I definitely want to get all the bells and whistles, and then, you know, actually learn how to get things off the DJI onto my computer, which I think is the biggest hang up. Like, I'm doing so much in terms of learning industries that I just don't have the energy to learn one more industry, so it's kind of holding me back from adding one more thing on my plate, which was actually something I wanted to talk about. I always get like these little downloads while I'm in the shower, and I really take those to heart, and I try to commit those to memory, and now I put them in my second brain just so that I can get it off my brain, but also have it somewhere where I can always go and pull it back up. Which building you a second brain is like the move of 2026 and beyond. Something we teach, something we do in the Spiritual Growth Academy. Every member who comes into the Spiritual Growth Academy, oh my God, that was my very first community, like 7-8 years ago. What we do in the Purpose to ProfitIn community. And let me digress. Hello, vlog. My name's Athena. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, thank you for returning and watching my rambles and bambles and blabbles that probably, I don't know, hopefully they add up to something worth viewing. We do everything life here, most importantly, entrepreneurship God's way, or with the faith-based foundation and perspective. Definitely try to go by certain kingdom-based principles when it comes to business and entrepreneurship, which I think is very important. Nothing can last if it's not built on God's word and kingdom-based principles that create and add sustainability. So there's that. But now what I was saying is, as I was in the shower, I got a download about industries, right? And I've been in the medical field for over like 26 years. So when it comes to industries, that's one industry that I know like the back of my hand. And so thinking of going into a new industry or thinking of changing industries obviously is a huge undertaking, right? Like, that's something that takes a lot of consideration. That's something that takes preparation, right? Because now you're going to have to learn something completely different, something completely new, and hope that, you know, you can excel in it as you've done, or as I've done in nursing over 26 years. So there's that, right? So as I was showering, I was thinking of, you know, industries, and I was thinking of just putting yourself in a position to learn an industry or identify an industry that you are curious about or interested in, and then what does it look like for you now to throw yourself into learning that industry, throw yourself into I'm sorry, y'all, this But are you willing to do what it takes to transition into a new industry? I think was the question that I had to pose to myself early on in the journey that I'm on now, which is building Purpose to Profit In, which is a hugely AI-powered platform, right? It's completely AI-powered. We use artificial intelligence. We leverage artificial intelligence. And that was a word that God gave me as I was really looking at artificial intelligence, as I was looking at AI consulting or artificial intelligence systems consulting, which is what I consider myself now, because I have learned artificial intelligence and how to use code through language. And I have also learned how to build systems. I have built systems. I'm building systems. And so that for me is a new industry that I'm tapping into that is outside of the nursing industry or the nursing realm. And that's both exciting and scary. And so, what did it look like for me to go all in? It looked like really just putting myself in a position and continuing to put myself in a position to learn all that I can learn when it comes to artificial intelligence, when it comes to how to leverage artificial intelligence. And that word has been huge for me. Leverage is something I think is going to take me into 2027 and beyond. Really understanding and utilizing that word in every aspect of my life and in every direction that I'm trying to go in. Is what does leverage mean for today, for this month, for this week, for this year, right? And so when we're leveraging artificial intelligence, it's completely different than when we're using artificial intelligence, right? And so when we're leveraging artificial intelligence, that means that we have taken the time, or we're continuing to take the time to learn how to utilize artificial intelligence to advance the work of our hands. And that's what Purpose to Profit In is all about. It's about leveraging artificial intelligence to advance the assignments that God has given us, the visions, the dreams, the ideas, even just the levels of creativity, right? We want to not have to continue to write down plans. Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision, make it plain. Some of us have been writing the vision. Some of us have been doing the vision boards. Some of us have been journaling forever and never making it plain, right? Never finishing the doodling, never finishing the Pinterest boards. And so what does it look like to be able to come into a system, come into a community, come into an ecosystem where we no longer have to doodle, write, and collect images? We can actually leverage artificial intelligence to take our creativity, to take our thoughts, take our dreams, take our visions, and articulate them in such a superb way that we can actually see the needle moving forward. That excites me. We've done some huge things right now with Purpose to Profit in terms of the things that we built, or the things that I built, because I'm a party of one, doing this by myself and learning by myself with the Holy Spirit. And so when I say we, it's me and him rocking this out, and I'm okay with that. But we've built an amazing assessment tool that allows the client and or the members to enter into the Purpose to Profit In virtual platform and take a scientific assessment that identifies their talents. Years ago, God told me that I was to teach about an individual's talents. He gave me Matthew chapter 25 that talks about the parable of the talents. And in that parable, it really discussed monetary talents being the currency of that time, right? And it had to do with economics and multiplication, which is what our dreams, our visions, our assignments, our plans, those all have something to do with economics and the advancements of our ecosystem in terms of economics. And so it translates today to the everyday entrepreneur is, what are you good at doing, or what do you do regularly that if you really leveraged that ability, it would produce a harvest, it would produce revenue, right? Continuously, because it comes naturally to you. And what I've learned in listening to God and learning about talents as a form of our identity is that, first of all, many of us, including me, that don't really know how to articulate what are my talents, what are my actual abilities, who am I in terms of my identity when I talk about what I'm capable of doing. How do I put that ideology or that thought or that perspective into words? Is it possible? And what I found is I didn't even know how to articulate what I was good at doing or what came natural to me or how that showed up in my everyday activities or how those particular talents and abilities have gotten me thus far, or how those talents and abilities have turned into skill sets, and those skill sets have enabled me to earn revenue in the industry that I have chosen, right? And what does it look like when I'm now pivoting and I'm shifting to a new industry intentionally, knowing and having an understanding of how I'm created, how I'm made up, how I operate, what I'm good at, what I'm challenged at, and not downplaying what I'm challenged at, but learning to collaborate with others who are stronger in that area than I, to propel, right, or to move the needle forward. So it opens up a whole world of understanding yourself better. And so the assessment that we've created really breaks who you are down in 4 domains, over 34 talents. And so it allows you to have a snapshot of your top high aptitude or abilities and your low aptitude and abilities. And your low aptitude and abilities aren't bad. They're just things that you can't be good at everything, and that's okay. But many times we're trying to operate from a low ability, and it creates frustration, or it creates stagnicity. We stay in an industry, we stay in a relationship, we stay in a situation longer than we should because we just don't understand that facet of ourselves. And so that becomes a golden cage or a prison for some. And that's where we see a lot of poverty and a lot of scarcity, because we don't understand really a huge significant part of who we are. In the Bible, in Matthew, it talks about how God has given each one the number of talents according to their abilities. So God has given us what He already knows we're able to do. And so this isn't if you can do it or maybe you can do it. It is you can absolutely do X, Y, Z if you just understand and are able to articulate and then cultivate, develop, and execute on what God has naturally created you to be capable of doing. And so the assessment breaks all that down. It's so amazing. It's super dope. And we have finally finished it and now are incorporating it in different parts of Purpose to Profit. And before, it was going to be kind of a high ticket access tool, but I have incorporated it into the full platform. Everybody gains a particular form of access to the assessment tool. It's called the Talent and Ability Index Assessment, and it not only looks at your talents and your abilities, but it looks at what's called your chronotype, and this really deals with what's called your circadian rhythm. It's how you operate in terms of rest, how your body is designed, whether we call it a morning person or a late night person, whether you thrive in the early hours, or if you thrive in the midday or in the evening or late night hours. Those are very important things to understand about yourself so that you can create structure and so that you can create your systems around how you're made. That's so important. We need to understand ourselves. If we understood ourselves, we probably would operate a lot differently. So I created a top 10 assessment, and then a full 34. So every member who comes into the signature community, which is kind of like the entry point of, or the lower end of what we offer, every member that comes into the signature community automatically takes the 10 talent assessment, or it identifies your 10. You take that assessment, and that is then populated or placed in your profile and in what's called your workspace, because you're coming to build a business. You're coming to build out a product and a service. And I thought it was super important that each individual has a space to build out that system or that product or that service. And so you build that out, which I think is phenomenal. And one of the things that is so important in Purpose to Profit In is that we do leverage AI, and that it does the heavy lifting for a lot of what we're doing, because we want to see results, and we want to, at the end of the day, have a product and service that we're proud of, that we can take to market and earn from. That's very important, because we want to use what God has put in our hands, and we don't want to be like the servant who had one talent and buried it, meaning he did nothing. He didn't create, he didn't multiply, he didn't execute. We can't do that. So how do we do that? We have to figure us out first, and then we have to take what we figured out about us and identify the service or the product that we're capable of taking to market, and do the work to take that to market. And so the Spiritual Growth Academy is so advanced in allowing a person to identify those things. You have the signature offer blueprint that scientifically, through your talent assessment, generates based on your capabilities, your abilities, it generates a product or service you can take to market, and gives you a 90-day roadmap to executing on that product or service to take to market. You just do the work. Many people are doing it now. They see an issue, or they are interested in an industry or a product or service, and they build systems, and they build a way to take that to their audience, and they execute. Same difference. It's just it's built and made and presented based on who you are, and not something that you pull out of the air, right? You can then take that blueprint into the signature community and work it out in your workspace, again leveraging the tools of artificial intelligence. We also have what's called our signature method. It's a 5-step method that really helps you to just take the whole vision, assignment, product, service apart, and put it together again in such a well methodically articulated way, again to execute with precision. You then can go from the signature community to the signature intensive, which is our higher level work with me, a lot more scientific, advanced technology to help you, again, build out that product or that service. That really is about implementing the systems that you need to take what you're building to market, or to improve what you've built. And then, of course, if you want us to build you a system based on what we offer, then we have our signature systems, which is a done-for-you platform. So we basically do it for you. So I'm excited about that. I've rambled enough. Time to get into work, get through this day. I am dreaming now of my next step. I have went down to 3 days a week, 4 days off. Now I'm dreaming of going down to 2 days a week, 5 days off. And that I am decreeing and declaring is going to happen sooner than later. I need to be here as less as possible. And Purpose to Profit is my tool in my industry and my strategy to make that happen. I might come on later, finish this vlog out. If not, thank you so much for watching my babbles and my blabbles and my gabbles. Check out the Purpose to Profit In. Go over to Purpose to Profit In. Purpose to Profit in.com, purpose to profitin.com. join the wait list, choose which option you're interested in. We'd love to have you in any capacity. We have built out just some phenomenal things that we're launching. We are launching the Talent and Ability Index assessment on the 29th of this month. We're launching the signature offer blueprint on the 29th of this month. That gives you your business plan, your master prompts, your content calendar strategies, your what do you do next, right? Your A through Z steps through master prompts, which is so important when you're leveraging artificial intelligence, is having the right master prompt to get the specific next step that you need. So we do that for you. And when you purchase the signature offer blueprint, you actually get a workspace to work from, so that you're building in a virtual space and not just something you can download and then figure it out, right? You have a space that you can constantly come back to, and it builds with you. So I'm super excited about creating that. I feel like I keep giving more as my creativity grows. And what I love about virtual spaces and artificial intelligence is that there's no limit to your creativity. I guess I don't want to overwhelm the person when they buy something, but I want to give more than less. And that's something that I've tried to do in such a strategic and creative way. As a visual learner, I've tried to make everything very robust and visual, very luxury, but also very high standard, right? Very premium. That is part of my identity. That's who I am. And so that has to be reflected in the works of my hands. So I'm super excited about it. If you have not subscribed, help your girl out. I'm trying to build this channel and take this serious and be dedicated to it. And I'm a little excited about YouTube and about the industry. This is an industry, and that's something that I've been talking to God about. I'm like, this is a whole new industry. I remember when entertainment of any sort was always cable based. You had to have a cable network. You didn't have Hulu, and you didn't have Netflix, and you didn't have Peacock and Prime. You had a cable company, right? And if you could not afford cable, you try to steal cable in my hood in some way or another, so that you could have form of entertainment. And if you didn't, you just didn't. Then you had videos, you had VHS, or you had DVDs when that came out. And so now entertainment has become such a free opportunity, and it has created a financial or an economic industry which one can earn from, promote what they're doing, but also from a spiritual standpoint, you stand on the mountain of arts and entertainment, right? You stand on the mountains of business, and that's important, because the believer's voice and what they can do through the creativity that God gives them needs to be on display, so others can say, who is this God these people serve that allows them to operate on such a level, right? And so, yeah, that's where we are. All right, I got to get in here, get this done, and get out of here. If I don't come back, love y'all. If I do come back, I'll see you then. All right, y'all. Take care. Bye now.
Yeah, it's time to build your vision. Step into your purpose, make the right decision. This is your kingdom, claim your ground. Let your faith be the only sound that you're hearing now.